You may continue, Honorable Mbhele.
Ngiyabonga Sihlalo. For those of us who are familiar with the fictional comic and cartoon world of Superman,
Order.
we'll remember that Clark Kent works at a newspaper called The Daily Planet. And judging by what we've heard from the ANC speakers today, they clearly fancy themselves as being reporters of good stories to tell for the Daily Planet Zuma. The first Daily Planet Zuma reporter up on the podium was the Honorable Patel, who came here and essentially gave us a long list of empty promises, delivered with the cherry on top that they will undertake to act against corruption in infrastructure projects. What a joke. The fact is, this entire side of the House spent the last year defending misuse of public funds in Nkandla. How on earth can we take you seriously? You have zero credibility when it comes to fighting corruption. And speaking of Nkandla, isn't it interesting that only ministers and deputy ministers spoke in the debates yesterday and today? Not a single normal National Assembly ANC MP. Could this be the after effects of the ANC caucus having been thrown under the bus?
Point of order.
So only those who own their
Honorable Mbhele,
positions.
please take your seat. Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority.
I think the Honorable Mbhele needs to be corrected. It's not true that only deputy speakers, deputy ministers and ministers, even Mutara in front of her, is not a normal in his room.
Point taken. You are so corrected, sir.
Chairperson, I said National Assembly MPs. The NCOP is a different house. I stand correct. So could this be the after effect of the caucus, the National Assembly caucus, being thrown under the bus, so only those who owe their positions directly to President Zuma were willing to defend his State of the Nation address? Moving on to our second reporter, the Honorable Jumat Peterson, who quite frankly appears to have it twisted. It is the Western Cape government that has created an enabling environment to attract and secure investments in this province. The DA provincial government has done the legwork, and the investment successes she points to are not because of you, but in spite of you. Chairperson, in addition, I would caution the minister against boasting too much or too loudly about being chased by Japanese men or having them line up to see her. Otherwise, people just may start thinking that she is a geisha. And in fact, all her rambling and theatrics earlier make one suspect that perhaps she may have been downing some sake before this sitting. It's no wonder, in fact, that her own home province of the Northern Cape did not re-elect her on their candidate list in 2014. No. And she had to jackknife herself into the ANC's Western Cape list so that she could become an MP. What a shame. And after she spent so much of her speech boasting about her Northern Cape pride. The Honorable Manamela spends a lot of time on education outcomes, trying to rubbish the Western Cape. Well, let me take this, or put this to the Honorable Manamela. 22 zero-pass schools in the last year. None of them in the Western Cape, all of them in the ANC provinces. So there is no leg to stand on in that regard. And let me tell you some more about the Western Cape's education outcomes. 84.7% matric pass rates, highest in the country. 41.7% bachelor pass rates, highest in the country. Above 70% average for schools in disadvantaged communities in quintiles 1 to 3. 100% textbook delivery for every child, in every subject, in every grade. That is education delivery of quality. That is education outcomes to be proud of. But the one good thing about the Honorable Manamela's speech was that it was the first time we actually heard the issue of crime being addressed at some length from the ANC. Because crime in this country has long reached endemic levels and has been on the increase since 2011. We all know this, and many of our fellow citizens feel this fear every day. Yet, in his State of the Nation address, President Zuma basically showed the middle finger to the serious issue of crime in this country. The SONA made it clear that he and the ANC government are out of touch with what is going on in our country. Drug crime got nothing more than a brief mention, saying nothing new about how this would be tackled. While we have come to expect empty words from a man who is notorious for making hollow promises, this obvious disconnection from what is happening in the country can no longer be ignored. Who has run the police exclusively for the last 21 years? The ANC national government. And the failure of the ANC to address the historical unequal police service provision and to appoint competent national police commissioners who lead the fight against crime effectively, given that the majority of crime victims are poor and black, amounts to hollow words from the ANC when they say they are tackling racial inequality. The one area you control exclusively, no progress. How can the ANC honestly say that black lives matter to them? Chairperson, I now move on to the Honorable We Don't Want Your Dirty Votes Mokonyane, who hammered on quite emphatically about water consumption in the suburbs. But where do you live, Minister? Can we talk about the ministerial residences in Newlands, which last time I checked was a leafy suburb? Can we talk about Senegal in the Free States, which has no water, but where you, Minister, organized the ANC's centenary anniversary celebrations, where you made sure that they had water, which is yet another demonstration that the ANC clearly comes first. Can we talk about more than R500,000 that was spent fixing the swimming pool at your official residence when you were Gauteng Premier? All that money, and it wasn't even for drinking water. Can we talk also about the towns that have no water on your watch? Let's talk about Swartregens, Awekamans, Smithfield, Awekamans, Aliwal North, Awekamans, Lady Grey, Awekamans, Senegal, Awekamans, Freiburg, Awekamans, Matatiele, Awekamans, Shushuwe, Awekamans, Lichtenberg, Awekamans, and Winburg, Awekamans. Minister, if you were doing your job, I wouldn't have to ask these questions. I would be able to say, Akona amanzi yonke indawo. And one final correction to the Honorable Minister. It is not the ANC that is investing its money in the Western Cape. That is taxpayers' money. That is money that comes from all the citizens of this country who are paying for that investment. And in fact, it is DA local governments who are spending that money more effectively to better use on water delivery and wastewater management than ANC local governments, if you just refer to the list I've just read out now. So the fact of the matter is, in this 2016 local government elections year, more and more of our citizens are going to see the bright lights and the beacon of DA delivery, and we shall see more wards, more towns, and eventually more provinces, and the entire country turn blue under a DA national government, delivering one nation with one future based on freedom, fairness, and opportunity.
Thank you,
Thank you.